Yes, welcome into Sports Bit Betting Insight today, Tuesday, December 13th. Pauly and Teddy, big game breakdown. The Grizzlies take on the Cavs, the red-hot Grizzlies, and we'll get to one game in college basketball on Fox Sports 1, Villanova and Temple. Jimmy Vaccaro, Tuesday, the deep dive. 5 great minutes. He'll recap how the books did, how the players made out, another $100,000 moneyline parlay he will tell you about. We look to stay red-hot with the play of the day, money time, before we get out of here. Not good for the books. Patriots looked like an easy win. They were blowing out Baltimore, and then the special teams, both teams, horrible in this game. The punt that hits Jones on the foot. What's he doing back there? He's fumbled, 4 times now? Slater fumbles the ensuing kickoff after Baltimore scores. And Hogan with the long touchdown to put it away for New England.
Yeah, that was a pretty big TD. Brady to Hogan, the difference maker against the spread. The game landing on 7. Certainly not a great result for the house, though it probably beat the heck out of it landing on 6. It was 23-17 for a while on this ball game, and I think a 6-point margin would have been worse. Because at 7, the game bounced around 6, 6.5, all on game day. So at 7, at least the Ravens money clearly lost. Where at 6, that would have pushed. But what do you say about New England? But their biggest weakness is they can't handle punts and kickoffs. It's a problem for them. It's been a problem all year. Brady throws an end zone pick and they still cover. No pass rush for New England again, and they still cover. Brady with 3 touchdown passes to 3 different players. None of them were with the Pats last year. We talked about it on the show yesterday with Tom Brady's quote saying, hey, stuff changes. You adjust. Brady's clearly shown he's more than capable of doing that.
The McClellan blocked field goal turned out to be a big play as well. Tucker finally misses a field goal. What a play that was. And this is the second time this has happened in a month on prime time. First score of the game, a safety. That usually pays 50-1 in some spots. You know the stat, McDonough talked about it all the time, and they flash it up there during the game. Patriots haven't lost at home when leading at the half since 2001 in the regular season. Brady now 50-1 at home against AFC opponents in the regular season the last 10 years, Teddy. Come on.
Those are insane stats. Those are the type of stats that we're seeing now. We'll be talking to our grandchildren about Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. We're not going to see an NFL dynasty like the one we are witnessing. We are truly witnessing. And we can't even say it's history because the Patriots keep doing it. Did it last year. They'll be there this year. The Super Bowl's going to go through New England like it has. Until further notice, the Patriots remain the class of the NFL in a way that no other team's been able to do.
Hey, white privilege! Jeff Fisher fired yesterday. You gotta love that, Teddy. Here are the horrible numbers. 6 winning seasons in 22 years. 2008, his last winning season, 13-3. They blew it as a 1 seed, lost at home. 2003, last time he got a playoff win. He's 5-6 all time in the playoffs. Good call by you earlier in the year. You said big deal. He signed an extension. And after what happened against Atlanta and blown out 4 games in a row, Fossil takes over. Who fires their coach Monday and plays Thursday?
Yeah, and 8 days from the extension, from the announcement of the extension. Apparently the extension was handshake dealed over the summer. Now the question is what happened to Les Snead, the GM? He signed an extension too, like Fisher, through 2018 before the start of the season. He's not guaranteed to return. And of course, the bigger issue for this game and moving forward, none of Jeff Fisher's assistants are guaranteed to be there. So everybody on the LA Rams staff, essentially, they got to be sending out resumes. They're making phone calls. They're not necessarily worried about game planning for a Thursday night game at Seattle this week. Now, John Fossil, the guy who took over Jim Fossil's son, he didn't have any aspirations of becoming a head coach. He said he was completely surprised when the Rams chose him to be the interim guy. And when asked if he believes if there's anything that he could show the Rams over the final 3 games that would give him a shot at being the head coach, Fassel's reply, no. He's truly here on an interim deal. He won't be the coach 3 weeks from now. He may not even be with the organization 3 weeks from now.
Yeah, you want to talk about walking into a buzzsaw. Revenge from what happened earlier. They were embarrassed by Green Bay. They need the game. They're at home. All the issues with the Rams. Oh, this could get ugly. And Goff keeps turning the ball over. Oh, man. All right, bad beats. We had the winner with the under, which got hairy there late as there was a long heave that could have sent it to overtime. But South Carolina's a bad beat.
Oh, yeah. The Gamecocks, and of course, They ended up pushing at the closing number, +2 up to +3. We didn't want overtime. The under got there. Whew, that was a sweat. But with no OT and 1 second left, the Gamecocks had to foul. The Pirates hit 1 of 2. That 3-point margin was the only time all night that Seton Hall led by 3 or more. The Gamecocks literally covered the spread for 39 minutes and 59 seconds, but not for 40 minutes, and that's what it takes to cash a ticket.
Yes, bad bets. College basketball. Auburn bet from 9 to 11 at the Garden against BC. Bruce Pearl's squad not ready to be laying that kind of price yet.
No, it's certainly not on a neutral floor. I mean, they were -10 on the glass. They were under 40% shooting from the floor, and they lost despite forcing 22 turnovers and hitting 19 of 23 from the free-throw line. I'll tell you what, you want to make money, you can find under 83% from Auburn on the charity stripe at every remaining game. You probably cash every ticket. So they hit their free throws and forced all the turnovers and still didn't even get the win as 10.5/11-point chalk. Auburn, a bad bet last night.
All right, and that now to the NBA with the bad bets. How about Charlotte and the Nuggets? Charlotte bombs away for the Pacers. They had a ton of threes in the blowout win, and money came in on the Nuggets, who no-showed in Dallas.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a blowout for Indiana. The score's 95-90 with less than 4 minutes left. And that turned into a 110-94 final, a 15-4 closeout run. And that was after Indiana went on, I think it was an 11-1 run at the start of the fourth quarter. They were trailing in that ballgame. Ended up winning by 16. It was lights-out offense down the stretch. The second game in a row for Paul George and company. Miles Turner couldn't miss either for Indiana down the stretch of that one. As for Denver, we've talked about Minnesota. Minnesota's been the most disappointing team in the NBA so far. The Nuggets are every bit as disappointing as Minnesota right now, in my opinion. Not playing a lick of defense, struggling offensively. They got bet up last night, -1 to -2.5, blown out in Dallas.
Yes, and another bet. Okay, let's talk about this. This is a team that you fell in love with. You said watch out for the run. What happened here with Milwaukee the last couple of days?
Well, this is exactly what happened. And the Bucks took money again last night. They got blasted at Toronto. So this is what happened. Okay, the Bucks were riding high, playing really well. They had the game against San Antonio where they covered wire to wire. They blew that game late. And then they're up 20 against the Hawks at halftime. And they blow that lead. And they blow that game late. Fall apart at the end. Same story at Washington on Saturday. They're in position to win. They fell apart the last couple of minutes. So now it's 3 straight games where they had a lead, had a chance, blew it late. As soon as that second loss came, as soon as they lost to Washington on Saturday, that buy sign is off. Because clearly, and again, I'm going to be right and wrong on a bunch of these teams throughout the course of the year. What you want to do is maximize your profits on the teams you're right about, and the teams where, I love Milwaukee right now, well, now they just took a gut punch and another gut punch, and maybe we better back off them for a little while. Boom, the buy sign comes off. You don't want to get burned repeatedly by a team you thought was up here, but all of a sudden now they're playing down here. So Milwaukee will give us another shot this season. I think we'll make money with the Bucks before this season's done. Not right now, and obviously Bettors that had them last night didn't have a right side either.
Yeah, good breakdown there, and the loss at Atlanta was horrible. All right, we'll do this every week on the show. This is fun. NFL win total update, Teddy. We have now 21 of the 32 teams, a done deal with New England's win last night.
Well, that's just it. I mean, why do we love these win total bets so much? Why do we talk about them all summer and say these are about as strong a positive expectation wager as you can find? One is because a half game is worth a fortune. And two is because here we are. There's still 3 weeks to play in the regular season, and 21 of the 32 win totals are done deals already. Let's go through some of these overs. The overs that have cashed. The Dolphins, they've cashed over 7 wins. The Patriots cashed over 10.5 with the win last night. Tennessee Titans have cashed over 6. The Chiefs over 9.5. The Raiders over 8.5. The Cowboys over 8.5. The Giants over 8.5. The Lions over 7. The Bucks over 7.5. The Falcons lined at only 7.5 wins coming into this season. All of those are done deals. Those teams could all lose out, and they would still cash over bets for anyone that bet them over the summer.
Yeah. Which one surprises you the most?
Surprises me the most? None of them. I mean, none of them. There's nothing you can look at. I'm not a guy that gets shocked by this stuff. And I'm just going through the list. I made money with Miami this year. I made money with New England this year. Tennessee has been a team that we've been talking about all year. Maybe Kansas City, because Kansas City's done it on smoke and mirrors a lot of the way. But we knew Oakland was going to be better this year. Dallas had the schedule to blow up this year. The Giants were a team we liked over the summer. And maybe the Lions, just because the fact the Lions came back from the dead after that awful start. But Tampa's a team that we bet on early, and Atlanta's a team. No, there's not a one of these teams that oh my God, I'm shocked where they are right now. Not a one of them.
How about if you had Philly under?
What do you mean, if
they start 3-0. They got to run the table now.
You know I have Philly under. You know I have a big wager on Philly under in my pocket. And I have, hey, it's a long way from cashing still.
Uh-huh.
But from when they started 3-0, I'd have taken a push with that and wouldn't even thought about it. And frankly, I'm still hoping to cash it. But Eagles got to win 2 more to push. I don't know if they're going to get there. Anyhow, unders that have cashed already. Jets. Well, their schedule is brutal. Everyone I knew was betting the Jets under the total this summer. The Bengals under 9.5. That was a plus price, by the way. The Browns, the lowest total on the board this past summer. They cash under 4.5. The Colts under 9.5. The Jaguars under 7.5. The Packers were the highest total team over the summer. They were 11. They can win out and still not get over 11. The Bears have gone under. The Panthers, the Cardinals, the LA Rams, and the San Francisco 49ers, the second lowest total also. It doesn't matter. They could win out. All those teams would still stay under their season win.
Yes. All right. Very fun segment. Up next, big game breakdown. Grizzlies and the Cavs and Villanova and Temple. Deep dive Jimmy Vaccaro in the play of the day. It's all coming up on SportsBit. Betting Insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Back on SportsBit, Betting Insight today. Pauly and Teddy, time for a big game breakdown. As always, live odds. SportsBookReview.com. In the association, Grizzlies hit the road to take on the Cavs. Cavs 13, 201.5 the total. A rare back-to-back non-conference games on each other's courts. They meet again Wednesday in Memphis. Memphis goes on a 6-0 straight-up and ATS run without Conley, Parsons, and Vince Carter. And they were playing some bad teams, Teddy. But what they did over the weekend, they were 13-point dogs. They were up 30 on the Warriors.
Oh, they blitzed Golden State. And they're doing it. I mean, some teams haven't taken them seriously. I think the Warriors didn't take them particularly seriously with all of those injuries. But Memphis is a plan right now, and it's a pretty simple plan. They're number 1 in the NBA in defense and number 28 in the NBA in pace. What do? They slow it down and grind. For teams like Golden State, that can be a disaster. Even for teams like Cleveland, that's not necessarily the way they prefer to play. Here's what Coach Fizdale said after beating Golden State, and certainly he was in a good mood that night, but let's see what it says. Quote, "A lot of people wanted us to roll over and die when we had everybody go down. 1 through 15, we picked the players that we did this summer, and I knew I wanted to be a part of this organization in the summer because of the kind of guys that they had. They like competition. They love it. That's what we have been doing. I know other games have been tight, and we hadn't played as well, but overall, our attitude has stayed the same throughout the process. It's a regular season game. I don't want to make a big deal of it. Bottom line is, for me, in the locker room, they see that they do belong, and that's all I wanted them to understand. That's what I'm saying to them. Aren't just words. What we're working on isn't just motions. It's actions, and it's real. And it's very real right now what the Memphis Grizzlies have done. What they've done is one of the more remarkable straight-up NATS streaks in modern NBA history.
Yep. Although Fizdale might mail one in tonight, the plan is not to play Gasol, rest him, and have him back for the game Wednesday. He was just named Western Conference Player of the Week, averaged 27 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.5 block shots over 4 games. But there's no reason for the Cavs not to go hard. They've been off since Saturday, and after the game Wednesday, they don't play again till Saturday against the Lakers.
Yeah, but I mean, Cleveland going hard. I've been surprised. I mean, Tyronn Lue is playing LeBron more minutes this year. The talk was that LeBron was going to play less. There was supposed to be a drop-off. Instead, the minutes have picked up in November and December. I wonder if Lue has a sense of purpose or if it's just LeBron being in great shape. Look at the graphic. LeBron's minutes up from 2015 and from 2016 so far this season. And look at the non-shooting production, the assists and the rebounds, both of those significantly higher than it's been in either of the last 2 years. He just became the first player ever to have 27,000 points, 7,000 rebounds, and 7,000 assists. His quote, "The last couple of years, This is the best I felt. And I told you guys, I put a lot of work into my body, into my craft. I rearranged a little bit with my diet, and it's worked to my benefit. When LeBron's saying things like that, Cavs not a team I'm necessarily looking to stand in front of right now. And Cleveland, they're gonna go on these runs, Pauly. They're gonna go on these spurts where they're covering numbers for a week or two. They've been doing that for the last week. They've been bombs away. I'm not in any rush to step in front of Cleveland here, even in this quote-unquote inflated point spread range.
No kidding, bombs away. That's why how about how low that total is for a Cavs home game, where they usually drop 120 on the opponent. That's shocking. You got to get something out of Memphis, and it could be over early. Game number 2, liveoddsportsbookreview.com. College hoops, Fox Sports 1 tonight, 4 o'clock Pacific. Temple, Villanova. Nova 16.5, 139.5 the total. We asked our photo guy for Fran Dunphy smiling. He couldn't find one. Owls have enough talent to have beaten Florida State and West Virginia back-to-back nights at Barclays Center in Brooklyn, but not been able to hang with the Wildcats in the last 3. Nova was laying 10, won by 16, laying 16.5, won by 23, also laying 10.5, 190-74, Teddy.
Yeah, so what's different this year? Then we consider the last 3 meetings all comfortable Villanova wins by double-digit margins. Well, what's different this year includes one, well, I guess Fran Dunphy's not smiling. Fran Dunphy never smiles. But this year, I mean, the Owls, they beat Florida State and West Virginia back-to-back nights at Barclays Center. I think this Temple team is a notch or two better than the ones we've seen in recent seasons. And look, I mean, Villanova's been remarkably impressive. Last year, the run through the NCAA tournament to cut down the net. So far this season, being every bit as elite as they were a year ago. And Jay Wright, I mean, he built what he has built at Villanova by respecting the sport from the bottom up. Despite the national title, despite the national, I mean, it's a national program now. They're still playing the full Big 5 cycle in Philadelphia, where all the Philly teams play each other. And look at the results over the last couple of weeks. They beat Penn, they beat St. Joe, they beat LaSalle, although they didn't cover against LaSalle. The Wildcats plus 76 in those ball games. Temple played all 3 as well, only plus 19 in those 3 ball games.
Good job. He should be playing the Philly schools, right? Also winning because he has players like Hart on the wooden watch list. He had 37 and 11 against Notre Dame on Saturday. Half of the team, 74 points. You have Hart, Jenkins, and Reynolds battle tested, but not a lot of depth. They only played 7 guys against Notre Dame, Teddy.
Yeah, but the lack of depth has a flip side. Because you're talking about 3 senior starters who won a title together last year. You may not have a deep rotation, but you do have great on-floor chemistry from the guys that do play. And look, I mean, Villanova, they're not worried about margins right now. They're really not. This is a team that's looking to make a deep run in March, and everything they're doing here is building towards that. That's my concern. Here we talk about laying this type of price with the Villanova Wildcats, even though they are, one of the, if not the best team in the country.
Yes, back to this game coming up. Up next, 5 great minutes, a deep dive with Jimmy Vaccaro. We'll recap the great weekend in the NFL, a $100,000 moneyline parlay, and a $50,000 bet on a bowl game already from a customer. That's coming up next on SportsBit. Betting insight today on SBRpicks.com.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.
All right, Tuesday, time for 5 great minutes in the deep dive with Jimmy Vaccaro, bookmaker for over 40 years. If you're ever in Las Vegas, stop in and see him at the beautiful South Point Resort and follow him on Twitter at Jimmy Vaccaro. I'm sure you were packed this weekend. The primetime great games were terrific. How was it there at the South Point?
As you just said, my friend, it was jam-packed, and obviously people can't get enough of the betting. And the betting has come to light where it's the next great thing that should be obviously okay through the 50 contiguous states, because it's just so much. It's just so much fun, and so much is going on, and people just love it. And we were jammed, and we even had some big play in the Army-Navy game, just with the one football game alone, and then smothered with the college basketball. It was a very well-attended weekend. A little tough booking them left to right from Saturday to Sunday, a little carryover there, but I can say everything went relatively well. And the biggest thing that we were getting a lot of play, Pauly, on the upcoming bowl games by people who weren't going to be here. as the bowl game starts to unfold this Saturday at Sam Boyd Stadium. So we're getting more and more of that people who are here and they're leaving and they won't be back for the bowl game, they're betting it. And we actually had one kangaroo jump in. Chris called me a little while ago. They bet $50,000 on Temple. I mean, where he came up with this, I don't really know. But you get some of those type of event players that just lay in the woods when something comes up and they like it. Obviously, they jump in. So he laid 13. He laid the price with everywhere in town. We're up to 14 on the game. But we'll get a lot of those people because, as I said, sports betting is coming out of the closet, my friend, left and right.
Another $100,000 money line parlay from the event bettor who comes to town once in a while, NFL?
Yeah, he got me. He wanted the buffet. So we gave him a buffet. I think that was pretty good worth the trade-off. But this I can't tell you. He's 4-0. The 4 weekends he's been coming in there, he's 4-0. He had to sweat his little behind off a little bit with this one. He had Cincinnati, which obviously against the Browns isn't even fair anymore. But he had the Detroit Lions, and he needed a comeback from Stafford late in the fourth quarter to obviously win it and got a little bit of a break where there was 2 pass interferences that were, two big catches were nullified by holding, and they were taken back and didn't get a chance to play the rest of the game only because it was 4-0 after that. But he won, and I'm sure he'll be back, and there's no doubt about it that, these things are coming to the forefront. And one thing that's going to incite a lot more of these things, Pauly, and it even almost goes to the one game yesterday with Dallas losing. I was kind of happy with them losing because now there's just so much. Each time someone loses, they go from the first to fifth, and they move around so quickly, and everything is so important that this draws much more attention. So I'm anxious to see the rest of the NFL season. The bowl games look terrific. Brent Musburger will be in town to do the Saturday game, which is an excellent game, Houston and San Diego State. So we're all geared up, my friend, and ready to go.
Yes. What was the best result and the worst result from the weekend?
The best result from us was actually the Cowboy game. Even though we obviously took money on the Giants late, but everything going to that point was all on Dallas from the previous 3 or 4 days. As we said, then, and the Thursday outcome was good too with the Oakland Raiders. So what we got there, it was a little bit of a mixed bag, like I said. But we got bailed out a little bit on the Brown game because for like the 5th week in a row, the Smarts kept taking the Browns, and the line actually went from 6.5 down to 4.5. And so we escaped a little bit, even though obviously the big money line parlay was hooked to that, and every teaser was hooked to that. We still got stung by the teasers and late money on the Packers, and they controlled the game. So like I said, we won a ham sandwich on Sunday and just traded money on Saturday.
I know you have your great line is professionals bet numbers and the public bets teams, but I mean it's every week these guys get their lunch handed to them with the Browns and they keep firing.
That I don't understand, and I surely respect all the kids. I respect all the people whom I consider know more than I do when it comes to market value and seeing things evolve and seeing why they go up and down to some degree. But I have no understanding. But they've been the saver in the last 4 weeks where we're really getting carried away because everything that the general public does is against those teams, against the 49ers, against the Browns. So to see that, at least, it saved you a considerable amount of money because we were as low as 4.5 from 6.5. We still needed the Browns. Only because of everything that was piled up on the parlays. But like you, my friend, sometimes you're better off by not trying to understand it. But I truly don't understand it, why they chase the Browns or chase the 49ers, and all they get back is a receipt.
Right. How much money are you giving away? Tell us about your bowl contest.
We have a jackpot parlay card bowl contest. We'll start on the 30th of December. The first game will be TCU in Georgia. We guarantee $25,000, no point spread. There's 15 bowl games. There's actually 14, and there'll be one total to make it 15. And it's just $5, no points. If there's 3 people, we chop up to $25,000. If there's one person, they get it all. But we will guarantee at least $25,000, and we're going to give that money away. The Alabama game, whomever they're playing, because I think they're going to get there.
Right. Excellent job, sir. We'll talk to you next week. Appreciate it.
Do your research before you bet. Check out our ratings guide to see which books have the best ratings and sign-up bonuses. Open up several accounts. Shop for lines at SBRodds.com. Always be ahead of the game.
Jimmy Vaccaro in the deep dive. Tuesdays, man. Tuesdays not our most viewed show. Mondays and Fridays are, but I'm telling you, I think that's our best segment of the week. Maybe it's because I'm never in it. Nice work, Pauly with Jimmy. Let's go to play of the daytime, and I know that we're going back to Philadelphia for one of the Big Five games.
You got it. Winner last night again, 36-20-1 in football, a 33-20 run with the play of the day. Betting number 713, Temple, plus 16.5. Obi and Encionia averaging 18-7, and one of the toughest guys around to guard, 6'8", 220, and he's 30-61 from three-point range. Too quick for the big guys, too big for the small guys. Temple to hang around. Alligator blood. And keep this one close. Temple, 713, plus 16.5. Let's give another winner here with the play of the day. Oh, you want to tune in tomorrow. Part 2. Bowl handicapping, how to make money. Be great insight from Tenny. We'll go over some of these games and what to look for. Can't wait for that tomorrow. I'll tell you, that's going to be a lot of fun. And we'll get to some of the, we're going to do every bowl game. We'll start tomorrow too, Teddy.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we did Bowl Handicapping 101, the conventional wisdom. Tomorrow's show, we're going to give you the tips to actually make you money. Please, come back and give it a watch. Right here, Sportsbit, Betting Insights Today. Best of luck and the wagering this evening.